All right, so after you finish your test for today, you are going to make your operations with decimal foldable. You have these 3 sheets of paper that you're going to pick up. And what I need you to do now is cut out just the big circles on each sheet and then cut out the dotted line around there. Do not cut anything else yet. So just cut the dotted line, big circles. Okay, so what you have right now, I want you to take your big circle and you may color this. You can color each different pie a different color, however you want to do that, but not with dark colors. So if you have matte pencils, you could color it in with matte pencils or actual colors, not really markers because it's going to be too dark and you're going to be able to read it. So if you want to color yours, you need to color it before you cut anything else, okay? Where it says glue here, you're going to put glue there, so I wouldn't bother coloring that. So again, if you want to color, you must color in a light color. I would prefer not markers, but matte pencils or Crayolas. So if you have those in your bag, you may use those to color that, okay? All right, so this is gonna be your first bucket that you, or wheel that you're gonna put down. The next wheel that I need you to grab is this one that says examples on the side. Where it says glue here, in a moment, that is where you're going to glue, but you've got to glue it correctly. So it says reading and writing decimals, and you've got to find where it talks about the place value of the decimals. Okay, so how you're going to lay this is where you see reading and writing decimals, you are going to stack the place value like that. So it's going to go just like this. All right, so I want you now, if you're going to color before you cut this. So I want you to color this if you want to color, but remember, we're writing on this as well. So we are going to cut where you see the dotted lines just up to where it says glue here. You're going to cut each of those dotted lines up to the point that it says glue here. And again, if you color, I would color before I cut. And then remember, we are writing on it, so you don't want to color it with markers, okay? And again, your word that says place value is going to go with the one that says reading and writing decimals. I'm going to go ahead and write on this our examples before I glue it on top of here, because you're only going to put glue on this dot, and then you're going to hold it down, and then the glue will go on this one for the next round. But again, I'm going to write on it before I do that. So what we're going to do is we are going to label our place value, and we are going to start with our circle like this. So right here, this is the tens place. This is ones. This is our decimal right here. So we're going to write and. So that's the decimal. And then we have tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. Okay. On our next example right here, we're going to, we have a division problem. It tells you the steps to dividing right over there. Make sure the divisor is a whole number. So the first thing that I need to do here is the first number right here goes inside the box. Okay. So I am going to, first I've got to turn that into a whole number. And the way that I do that is I have to move the decimal. This is the divisor. It's the visitor because it's the second number. So I've got to move that decimal out. I got to move it to the end. So to do that, I move it one time here. And what I do to one, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to move that decimal one time over here. That now makes it 126 divided by 5. Okay. Again, the second digit cannot have a decimal in it. So I've got to move that decimal out, and however many times I move it here, I got to move it here. It's the same thing as moving it after you got it next to the house. Well, 5 does not go into 1, but 5 goes into 12 2 times, and 2 times 5 is 10. I subtract, and I'm left with 2. Bring down the 6. and 5 goes into 26, how many times? Well, it'll go 5 times because 5 times 5 is 25. I subtract, I'm left with 0. Okay, I need to get out of the habit of putting remainder or R1. I don't have a remainder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a decimal to my house. That allows me to add a 0 to the end of your dividend, bring down that 0, and now 5 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. I subtract, I'm left with nothing. And then my decimal, he's 1 over or he pushes up. So my answer is 25.2, and I'm going to write this right over here, 25.2. Okay, so again, move the decimal, and it gives you the directions. Make sure the divisor is a whole number by moving the decimal point until it is furthest to the right. So, and then you have to do the same to the dividend as you did to the divisor. Place the decimal in the answer after you divide. So we did all of that. Turn your wheel. Make sure you're keeping it lined up. Remember, place value goes with reading and writing decimals. Here we're going to give an example on how to multiply those decimals. So I'm always going to put the longer number, the number with most digits, not the bigger number, smaller number, the one with the most digits on the top. So 0.818, and I am multiplying that by 4.5. I do not need to line up my decimals when I multiply. Makes the problem too long. 5 times 8 is 40, carry the 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5 times 8 is 40. Put the 0 and carry the 4. You need to make sure you read it. It should say 40. Make sure you've written it correctly and didn't put the 0 up here and the 4 down here. If you need to write this number first, 40, if you want to write your top number and then bring down the other number, you can do that as well. 5 times 0 is 0, plus the 4 would be 4. Okay, now I have to move over because now I got to multiply everything by this 4 right here. So I move over with a placeholder, and I've used these digits, so I'm going to mark them off. 4 times 8 is going to give me what? What is 4 times 8 going to give me? 32. So put the 2, carry the 3 right up here, or put the 3, then put the 2 at the bottom. Carry the 3, put the 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 times 8, 32. So again, I could put the 3 and then put the 2, so it's 32. 4 times 0 is 0, plus the 3. And then I'm going to add them up. Okay, I get 0, 9, 10, 11, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, and 3. And then my decimal, I do not drop him. I count him. He is 1, 2, 3, 4 back. 1, 2, 3, 4 back. So there's my answer. And I am going to put a box around my answer. Okay. Turn all of your will to the going to subtract our decimals. So the most important thing you got to remember is line up the decimal. So you are going to write that first number on top, 12.561, and you are subtracting 6.47. let me zoom that in. I have to line up my decimal. So the 6 is going to go here, then the decimal, then 47. Then I've got to do something to get rid of all those empty spots. And the way that I get rid of those empty spots is by plugging in zeros. So I'm going to plug in a 0 there and there. I don't necessarily need one right there, but I can put it. Okay. Okay, so 1 take away 0 is going to give me 1. 2 take away 0 is going to give me 2. I can't take 7 away from 6. I'm going to borrow from this 5. That 5 is then going to become a 4. But when I borrow over, I'm really taking 10 over with me. So this becomes 16. And then 16 minus 7 gives me 9. And then 4 take away 4 is 0. I'm going to go ahead and drop my decimal because my decimal comes straight down. And then I can't take 6 away from 2. So I borrow from that. That becomes 0. This becomes 12. 12 take away 6 is going to leave me 6. So that's going to be my answer. And I'm going to go ahead and box my answer. Okay. Turn all of your thing around. You are now on line up the decimals. So you're going to add some decimals. So to add decimals, I have to line them up. So I have 145.90 plus 512.8560. I got to do something with those missing spots. I have got to add in my zeros. Okay, that's 0, and then I'm just going to add 0 plus 0, 0. 0 plus 6 is 6. 0 plus 5 is 5. 9 plus 8 is going to give me 17. I'm going to carry the 1. So if you need to write 17 by writing that 1 first and then the 7, so you remember, you can do that. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. My decimal falls straight down. So that finishes out that will. At this point, without moving him, you're just going to put a dot of glue right here where it says glue here and 1 dot. And then again, you're going to find where it says place value and then reading and writing decimals. And you are going to make sure that you put that circle on top of that other circle and turn him where you need him right there. So, and it's going to take a few minutes to dry, so just leave it right there and don't twist or turn him. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side for a moment so that he has a moment to dry. And then I'm going to get this circle out. Again, if I'm going to color, I'm going to go ahead and color it before I cut him. So I'm not coloring mine, but you can color yours as long as you're coloring with, if you want to even use markers just to color in the divide, place value, but don't color the whole thing with a marker. Use crowns or matte pencils. Then again, I am going to cut my lines just to that middle circle. And then I am going to go back to this guy right here, and I'm going to find the easiest one, dividing decimals. I'm going to go find the division problem. Place value, decimals, place value, and then I have adding here. So where it says decimals, place value, I'm going to line that up with the place value. So the same exact thing, I'm going to put 1 dot of glue on the glue here, and then I'm going to make sure that I line that up and glue him in. And again, I'm going to make sure that I have colored before I cut. And then you have a will that you can move all of your different pieces once he's glued down good to go see your steps, your example, and the tool that you're using. And then what you're going to do with this is you're going to go to your math log into your foldable section, and you are going to, you can color this as well. You're going to glue down on the math log the operations, decimal system, and the will on a full sheet. And then in your table of contents, write operation with decimals, and then the foldable section is where this is going to go.